What's up, guys? I am super excited to be here with you for a weekly lesson of the U Effect, third week. I think it's been a great series. If you've been following the daily devotionals, it's some awesome stuff. If you missed something, check back to the YouTube channel. You can go do it. The daily devotionals will be on the Instagram feed in a series called the U Effect. So you can get back and check that stuff out. But I think it's a really great thing, even if you missed, to catch back up. Great series, excellent. I think it's wonderful right now, talking about the effect that we have on the world around us. All right, so how many of you have ever heard the phrase cause and effect? Okay, basically it's this simple. Cause, my mom's in a really good mood today. Effect, I'm going to ask about those concert tickets that I've been hinting at for a long time. Cause, my teacher sprung an unexpected final exam or project due for us due Monday. Effect, my weekend is wrecked. Okay. Cause, I look like a mess today. Effect, I'm not going to talk to the person I like. No, not going to happen. Not talking to my crush today. All right. So, cause, we played terrible last game. Effect, coach is going to run the dog legs out from under us. Okay. I hope you get the idea. But, and here's what's funny for me. I'm guessing that it's true for you too. When I experience something that is, the effect is great, I'm like, I did that. That's because of me. I'm the great thing. It's me. I caused this great effect. Yay. I don't say it out loud. I may want to. I may think about it. But inside, I'm going, it's me. All right. But I totally hype myself up in my own head. I'm like, yeah, you did it. It's you. But here's the deal. On the flip side, when I run into effects that aren't as good, I don't say, it's me. No. I blame everybody else, okay? If I forget to take my medicine in the morning, if I forget to grab my keys or something weird, okay? It's my wife's fault because she changed the routine. Changing the routine may be that she got my coffee ready for me instead of me doing it myself. But it changed my routine, so it's her fault that I messed up. So yeah, because we totally give some, or that song that I heard that was playing, it totally distracted me. It's the song's fault, okay? Whatever it is, as long as it wasn't me, all right? I know in life sometimes we all mess up. All of us. We all slip up. We make mistakes. We drift away from what we know that we're supposed to be doing. And the effect is, we start to lose some influence. And so here's what I mean. Suppose this happens in a big way. We make a big mistake that becomes, and what we did becomes the headlining gossip at school, okay? Or on our team, or even in small group. Shame, but it happens. Maybe it involved getting high at a party, or getting drunk, or some risque pictures you shouldn't be taking somehow got public. Who knows? But whatever it was, whatever we did, the cause and the effect is that people look at us differently. People that were close take a step back. People that listen to us turn down the volume. Adults who respect us get that, that disappointed look. There's nothing worse than that disappointed. Like, I remember growing up, I would rather my father beat me than tell me, son, I'm disappointed. Can you just hit me? Like, hitting me would be easier than that, son, I'm really disappointed in you. Come on. Just beat me, get it over with. I'd much rather take the beating. But here's the deal. Even the people who we normally hang with and are quick to jump in with, for some reason, they're not answering our phone call. They're busy. Sometimes this can happen in a small way over time. It was one huge decision. It was a series of small decisions, small changes in our friend group. The one time that turned into a all the time thing until we're suddenly a different person, until we're suddenly seen differently. How we treat people can influence or can increase or decrease the effect that we have on others' lives. Okay, how we treat people can increase or decrease the effect that we have on the lives of others. Over time, if those choices and those interactions are negative, people could stop trusting us or stop wanting to be around us at all. And the result is that we can lose positive effects slowly over time. Before we even realize it, our relationship has changed. And we can end up feeling like we can never get back what we lost, okay? And here's the thing. Losing influence happens to all of us. Losing influence happens to all of us because none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. Surprise! We all make decisions that help create distance between us and the people around us. And when that happens, nearly all of us tell ourselves the same thing. My life is over. It's so over. I can't ever get it back. We mess up, do something stupid, and people find out, and we decide not to go to church for a week. We stay quiet in small group, or we ghost our friend group. And more often than not, that week turns into 2 weeks, and that 2 weeks turns into 2 months. And before long, we start telling ourselves, I used to be a church person. I used to be a God person. I used to be a small group person. But that's not who I seem to be now. I'm not going to have the same influence or be the person who changes the effect someone's life because of what Jesus has done. Maybe I once was a person with this positive you effect, but right now I'm just not that person anymore. And we've told ourselves that, and we've become that, and we start walking that out. And if that's you, you're not the first person to feel this way. The Bible is full of people who have had positive influence and lost it. And I'm sure that they thought that their story was over too. This week we're going to be looking at a woman whose influence had nearly hit rock bottom. In her culture, women were perceived as property or less than to begin with. And in this case, this woman had made some really bad decisions that led her to lose what little influence that she had. Her encounter with Jesus was recorded in the book of Luke. Luke was a physician, a researcher, and what he did is he would spend time with people and go investigate people who knew Jesus and get to talk to the people involved as much as possible. And he wrote down her story, and here's what he said. And this was at a particular dinner invitation in Luke chapter 7, starting in verse 36. When one of the Pharisees invited Jesus to have dinner with him, he went to the Pharisee's house and reclined at the table. Now, for context, Pharisees were Jewish leaders who were dedicated to following the Jewish religious laws. And because of that, they're better than you. Okay? They thought that they affected everybody in a positive way. They were so confident in that fact that they looked down on everyone else who seemed to have less influence. Oh, you're cute. You don't spend your whole life studying the law? Oh, I'm sure you're okay. But that's who they were. That's kind of, with that in mind, here's what happened next. Verse 37, a woman in that town who lived a sinful life learned that Jesus was eating at the Pharisee's house. So she came there with an alabaster jar of perfume, expensive stuff. As she stood behind him at his feet, weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them. Now, again, this might seem weird because why are you touching me? But in that culture, imagine walking around on dusty roads, not paved roads, dusty roads, sandy culture, in sandals all day. Feet were nasty. And typically when you'd come into someone's home, they'd give you some water, something to wipe off your feet, or some oil so they didn't stink. Those kind of things, all right? So that's what would normally happen in a welcome environment, all right? Now, so it goes on to say, when the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would know who's touching him and what kind of woman she is, that she is a sinner. All right? Don't get ahead of me. The thing is, the Pharisee had Jesus all wrong, okay? He thought that Jesus would back away from being touched by a sinful woman, when in reality, that's exactly the kind of people that Jesus was drawn to. And the kind of people drawn to Jesus. He preferred it that way. People with no influence were drawn to Jesus. People who were sinners were drawn to Jesus. People who had negatively affected others were drawn to Jesus. This woman knew that she had a bad reputation and had no influence or at all respect in the group that she was in. And that's what drove her straight to Jesus' feet. Her appreciation for Jesus was fueled by her own inadequacy. She didn't hide from Jesus because she didn't measure up. Instead, she got close to him and worshiped him. And then Jesus tells a story, and then he goes on. Then he turned towards the woman and said to Simon, Simon's the guy's house they're at, "Do you see this woman? I came into your house. You did not give me any water for my feet, but she wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss." They would greet each other with a kiss, kind of like the French people, all right? "You did not give me a kiss, but this woman, from the time I entered, has not stopped kissing my feet. You did not put oil on my head, but she has poured perfume on my feet. Therefore I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, as her great love has shown. But whoever has been forgiven little loves little." Then Jesus said to her, "Your sins are forgiven." Simon looked at this woman and probably saw her as nothing. She's a throwaway. She's not worth his time. But when Jesus looked at her, he saw something completely different. He saw potential and purpose and the positive effect in her future. Okay? And see, up until this point, the cause and effect for this woman's life looked more like she was a sinner. The effect, people looked down on her and thought negatively about her. But then Jesus showed up. But then Jesus, cause Jesus loved her. Effect, Jesus forgave her and gave her a new start. All right? No matter what you've done, no matter how bad a person you think you are, or how people perceive you, or they think about you, or what you think you may have done or going to do, you are loved by Jesus, and you are free to love him back. You don't need to get it together to get with Jesus, okay? You don't need to try to be good so you can play church and do it right. You don't have to do the right stuff before you can hang out with Jesus. In fact, what's incredible about Jesus' encounter with this woman is that afterwards, she had more influence than she could have ever imagined, okay? Think about this. She went from the bottom of a society as a woman, and then as a woman who didn't do things right and was a sinner, to having her story told for thousands of years for millions of people to hear and to take hope because of her story. Talk about some influence, okay? That's a big swing in her influence in that one moment, all right? So her lost influence, her lost reputation, her lost standing, they weren't lost forever. Think of it this way. Because of Jesus, we can change the effect we have on others. Just like the woman in our story, our mistakes don't have to erase our potential for positive effect. Jesus has always been about new starts and do-overs. Maybe you're sitting here thinking today and feeling like you relate to this story because you've made some decisions in your past that you regret. And you've assumed that these bad decisions mean that you're a bad person and that you aren't the kind of person that God wants to use. Or maybe you feel like you've made decisions that have caused you to lose your influence with the people around you. Sure, God forgives, but people still talk, right? Can we even change that? Either way, here's the deal. Here are a couple steps we need to take to help us change directions. First thing we need to do is we need to reflect, okay? Ask yourself, what are some small steps or big decisions that are leading me to have a negative effect on others? Maybe it's the way you talk to others. You ever been around that person that just talks down to you? You know, I had a coworker one time that talked to everybody like they were a baby. You know, it's not, you don't think of it as a big thing at the moment, but being talked to like you're a baby all the time, even though that you're probably better at whatever you're doing than they are, kind of makes you not respect that person. Or maybe you're someone who's sarcastic. That overly sarcastic person is funny for a moment, but when you really get down to it, maybe you're out doing something stupid on the weekend, getting drunk, smoking weed or whatever, making impulsive decisions that are borderline reckless, okay, that are going to get you hurt or maybe others hurt, okay? Maybe you're lying to the people who are closest to you, or you're pretending to be something you're not. Whatever it is, take some time to honestly think about what may be causing your you effect to be not so good. Next thing we need to do, we need to confess. If there are some bad choices that have led you to have a negative effect on others, talk to God about it and invite him into your mess. He will come into your mess. He wants to be in your mess. He wants to help you get out of your mess. And so a lot of times to help you get out of your mess, he's got to be in there with you to pull you out of the mess. All right? Don't try to clean up the mess yourself, because a lot of times we make it a lot worse. But we want Jesus to come out and help us. Just like the woman at the dinner party, we can approach Jesus no matter what other people think about us. No matter what. You are welcome, okay? All right, you are welcome. He isn't surprised. He isn't mad. He is quick to forgive and accept you just as you are. He sees us exactly as we are, people made in his image with incredible potential. You may want to talk to an adult about it. You may want to talk to your small group leader. That's why we do this whole small group, so you have a safe adult to talk to about these things, okay? We come here, we want you to have the ability to talk to somebody who may have been through some stuff too and come through, but someone that you can relate with and talk to, someone who's going to open up themselves and receive you just the way you are, just like Jesus did. Okay? Talk to someone. Rebuilding trust with people takes time and some intentionality, okay? And your leaders can help. We need to identify a specific step that you can take to move in the right direction to rebuild trust after the negative effect that you've had causes people to step back. Maybe it's apologizing to somebody that you've mistreated or lied to. Maybe it's changing the way that we speak to people. Maybe it's asking someone to check in on us and remind us that we can make positive decisions, that we can move in the right directions, that we can change. All right. So as we transition today, I want you to remember, because of Jesus, we can change the effect that we have on others. Lost influence doesn't need to be lost forever. You have the ability to take a step in a different direction. We can change it. And as you look around the room today, and you look around everybody that you see, you know that that's true for everybody else, and everybody who's here, and everybody who isn't here, okay? Maybe you know someone who's made some choices that disappointed you or made you think very differently of them. If that's true, know that because of Jesus, they can have a new start too. And you can be a part of reminding them that they are welcome in God's house. They are welcome and accepted and loved here. The truth is this: all of us mess up sometimes. And we take our you effect from a positive to a negative, and then we need a fresh start. And when that happens, we're all tempted to give up and walk away, or assume that that our story's over, that our life's over. But Jesus makes it so clear. Nobody in the room gets to say that your life's over but him, and he's not going to say that. And when we step towards him, he invites us to get up instead of give up, to change the effect one step at a time. I love you guys. Can't wait to see you soon.